Welcome to the Downer Difference, the podcast where we explore the stories and the people behind Downer's success. Through our discussions, we'll uncover how our high-performance culture drives outcomes, how we deliver for our customers, and support each other to enable communities to thrive. My name is Mary Donohoe, and I'm here in the studio with my co-host, Hélène Turi.
The title of our episode today is Perpetual Recycling and Asphalt. And we'll welcome George Panagiotou, Head of Asphalt and Products at Downer. Let's get started.
Welcome to the Downer Difference podcast. I'm joined in the studio today by George Panagiotou and Hélène Turi. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Close.
Did I
yeah,
say
not
it
bad.
for us properly?
Pretty good.
I understand that you are an industry stalwart. Could you tell us a little bit about your role and what you do at Downer?
Is stalwart a nice way of saying you've been here a long time?
No.
I didn't want to use the word veterans, that's why.
Yeah, come January it'll be 37 years.
Wow.
So it's a fair stint. I'm the head of Asphalt and Products, which is part of the transport and infrastructure business. In terms of some business dimensions, business turns over close to $900 million in revenue, has about 850 full-time employees, then probably has double that in full-time subcontractors that we use every single day. We manufacture about 3 million tonnes of asphalt per annum.
Wow, 3 million?
Yes, 3
million. Is that
million.
a real number?
That is a real number. We also procure and supply and manufacture about 300 million litres of bituminous products in bitumens and emulsions. Then we have a number of auxiliary pavement services, whether that's pavement preservation, profiling, zubri, which is lifting, all sorts of different things, as well as our economy business, which is the recycling of the road sweepings.
Your journey in asphalt is making a huge difference in Australia. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got into this type of role and this business?
My first day on the job when I started as a technical officer, back then the company was called Ready Mix. I think we've had about 4 different owners since, and Downer's been the longest serving for the last 18 odd. But when I first started, I turned up to the asphalt plant and thinking I'm going to go there to learn how to test and make asphalt. So I walked in the office and I was given a pair of safety boots, and the supervisor looked at me, checked me up and down. He said, you come with me. So I followed him, and he took me down to where we got a series of feeder hoppers, and one of them was a sand feeder. And he gave me these long prod. It was about 2 metres long with a bit of an arrow at the end of it. And he said, stand here. Every time you see a lump that comes out of that feeder, grab the rod and you break it. And I said, really? He goes, yep. And sure enough, within about 5 minutes, there was a lump. I grabbed the prod, I'd break it. So I tell everyone my first job, I started as a lump poker.
Well, how long did you have to do that for?
I did it for about a day and a half. I'm assuming the usual lump poker was away.
Okay. It wasn't like a 3-year internship.
No, it was only a day and a half, and then they got me in the lab and started training me on how to actually test asphalt.
Oh, okay.
George, you're really active on LinkedIn.
I'm not really active.
Oh, I love it personally. I love it because I'm in comms and I love when our people are sharing their stories on LinkedIn. And a recent one was about the Wingfield asphalt plant and recycling. What I read was that you've increased massively the efficiency of the plant over the last 3 years. So can you talk to us about that? Because today this podcast is about the culture and how we are owning the outcome.
Yeah, I think the bit you're referring to is we actually had Peter come for a site visit.
Oh, I see you.
Yeah,
cool.
So we went to the asphalt plant, and we started a recycling business in construction materials, and we started it as a nascent business 3 years ago. So from nothing, we rented a block of land, we rented some processing equipment, and in the space of 3 years from an idea, we've gone into recycling over 120,000 tonnes of construction materials in that business. So in a really short period of time, the guys have been able to see an opportunity and, turn it into a great nascent business and earning some reasonable profits for us, and also doing a good thing for the environment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of all the material that comes in, for every tonne that goes in, 99% of that, so 999 kilos of that goes back into the road network somehow. Only less than 1% actually goes to landfill, which historically all of that would have ended up in landfill.
Hélène, have you ever been to the asphalt plant?
Yeah, I went once in Auburn.
Oh, yeah.
And they make me go up to really understand how asphalt is working. So I was terrified, but I did it actually. And that was absolutely fascinating. And I remember they were talking about the numbers you brought earlier. And the scale is absolutely incredible.
I'm the only one that hasn't been.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, George, here you go. That's a
Mari, whenever you want,
Yeah.
we'll do a site
awesome.
tour anywhere you want. Rose Hill is the newest plant that
Okay.
we've got. It's probably the most up-to-date and modern plant probably on the planet in terms of what it's got on there. It has the ability to recycle up to 99% of the materials that come out of it.
So is it what is called Reconophalt, or that's something different?
Yeah, Reconophalt is a particular product that we make, and that incorporates soft plastics. It also incorporates some waste toner, as well as recycled pavement that comes out of the old network. So for us, we view the existing road network, once it's past its useful life, we see that as a long, thin black quarry. It's forever perpetually recyclable. And one of our philosophical views is that whatever we put into our recycling capability, it has to be perpetually recyclable. We're never going to leave a legacy for future generations. So whatever we do needs to be able to be recycled again and again and again.
How did the market react to that? Were they welcoming this type of approach and philosophy?
The short answer to that is no. Particularly state road authorities, they're very conservative. You can imagine they've had long-standing specifications which are prescriptive, they're recipe-based, that's held them in good stead for many years. So whenever you want to divert from that, they're pretty conservative. So they've allowed up to a certain percentage of recycling, until they actually go away from a prescriptive type of specification and then go to a performance-based, you're really not going to move that dial. So we're limited to what we can put into the network.
Okay.
Do you ever use asphalt, or does anybody use your asphalt in schools, hospitals, car parks?
Yes.
Those types of places?
Yeah. Anywhere you see car parks, it could be ours or our competitors' products. It's not just a road network or footpath, it's all car parks, anything that's bituminous-based.
We have a bit of interest in that in health and education.
So it's interesting. Yesterday, I live in New Zealand, and in Melbourne, the temperature was 40 plus degrees. Is the climate, I would say, changing, impacts how you're thinking about asphalt and developing new products?
In Australia, we've obviously had, these heat, these warm temperatures across the country. You go to northern Australia, it never drops below 20 degrees. So we've got designs that have been specifically formulated to be able to withstand temperatures. And it's the combination of the materials you use. So for us, the temperature, as long as we don't get to above 70 degrees,
Very good.
We're okay, yeah.
Well, what about in New Zealand, South Island? We don't have any asphalt plants.
Yes,
there,
we
I'm
do.
guessing.
Yeah,
oh,
we
do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they've different formulation there for the cold.
Yes, correct. Yeah, the types of binders you use, will be different.
Reflecting on your 37 years career, I thought you say that. Did you had any professional mentor? And if yes, how did they influence your career and who you are today?
Yeah, I wouldn't say there's been a particular individual that's been a specific mentor. I think I've learnt different skills from different people along the journey. Early on in my career, there was a particular gentleman in New South Wales. He used to be an ex-McKinsey consultant, and ReadyMix at the time hired him to work for us. And he taught me a lot around business management skills, the tools you need to run operations, and the metrics that you would use to do that. And then I've got people like even Sergio Sinarau, which we know well at Downer, really taught me about what being fiscally responsible or managing an operation was about, and making sure that you never lose sight of where the work gets done. It's not us sitting in the office. There's people with boots on the ground who are delivering this work. So, and then there's even people like Dante, who just left with us a couple of years ago, really entrepreneurial, and really would think outside the box. So I wouldn't say one particular mentor, different people got different skills from over the journey.
Mm-hmm. And is there anything that you are super excited about for the future in asphalt?
Yeah, look, if I look at our product development, I think for us, the next evolution will be around lower carbon products. Whether we like it or not right now, asphalt is carbon intensive, bitumen and the process we go to make asphalt and making it hot at 170 degrees. we're down as big as CO2 emitter because of our asphalt burners, the heating and drying aggregates and making asphalt at that temperature. So for us, I think the evolution and the revolution will come when we get rid of the burner and we actually do stuff at ambient, and I don't think we'll ever get to net zero until we actually are able to remove that asphalt burner. And that's what we've been working on. Have been working on it for the last 3 years, have made some progress, haven't quite got to the answer we need, but I think we will get there. And everyone thinks about Reconifel and talks about toner. Actually took us 7 years from the time someone came to us with a problem, which was toner. This particular organisation in Close the Loop would be collecting toner and refused to send it to landfill. They came to us and said, here's the composition of it, can you do something? It took us 7 years from the time we first touched the product until we got it into, a marketable
product.
Yeah.
If you weren't in your current role, George, is there another occupation or field you'd be interested in exploring?
Yeah, is there a occupation that you could be a full-time tourist travelling the world, visiting islands of some sort?
Yeah, tour guide.
Tour guide, yeah. I'd be a tour guide.
Yeah, okay.
But tour guide, love that.
But only in somewhere where it's warm. I hate the cold weather, I hate the snow.
Yeah, okay. Any particular islands?
Clearly Greek origin, so I do tour the Greek islands. There's about 1,000 of them, they tell me.
George, in your view, what does the donor difference mean and what impact does it have on the business?
Interesting question. I think from my perspective, I think about Downer and I think about the organisation as a whole. And ultimately, I think we're a business of subcultures. I think every single operating team out there, whether it's in the leadership or out in the field, I think they have their own subculture. What I think the Downer difference does is actually connects everyone to have one cultural behaviour, something that we can all look at and say that's what we're really all about. Because no matter where you look at, I'm sure your team operates a certain way. Mari has a certain rhythm, so does mine, and so does yours, Helene. So I think when I look at the Downer difference, it's about it connects us. It connects us all, and we all have a common cultural behaviour that we can identify with. And I think not only that, I've been around a long time, obviously, 37 years. It's the first time that in my career that I think we've got some behaviours that can resonate with everyone, including the frontline workers. With all due respect, thought leadership. If I go talk to someone who's on a roller and start talking about thought leadership, I'm not sure he's going to quite get it. But he does get standing for each other. He does get we're doing it for our customers, and he understands we own our outcomes. So for me, I see examples of it every single day, particularly individuals, they'll all exhibit one of them, whether they're standing for each other, whether it's safety. That's what I see when we talk about standing for each other. It's about looking after your mates, your workmates and your colleagues. And I see that every day, someone sees something that's not quite right. The more experienced people will call it out.
Now, we've been asking all of our guests to recommend a book to our listeners.
Recommend a book.
Summer reading.
Shoe Dog.
Ooh, okay.
Shoe Dog. It's a biography of Phil Knight, the guy who started Nike.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Really interesting because most people won't know. He actually started off as a salesman for Tiger, on Onitsuka Tiger. That's what his first job was. And then Tiger were looking to find a bigger distributor in America, so they were going to cut him loose.
Right.
And as soon as he found that out, he started his own brand. And Nike, being of Greek origin, is actually the name comes from the goddess of winning.
So that definitely connects with you, right?
Connects with me, yeah. It's a Shoe Dog.
Fantastic. And then what about a song?
A song?
Do you listen to podcasts? Because half of our people told us, well, just listen to podcasts.
Yeah. No, I probably haven't got a song.
Any music?
No, I listen to all sorts of different genres. Yeah? From, I listen to country to heavy metal.
So what are the things that you are the most proud of in the last 12 months? It doesn't have to be one, by the way.
Yeah, I think we said earlier, Helene, for me, it was a difficult end to the last year. We had a fatality in the business. So I think what I'm most proud of is that in terms of our safety stats, our statistics have come down, and we really haven't seriously hurt or injured anyone during the whole year. We've had some, medical treatments and some lost time, but nothing of any serious nature. So I think that's a good sign.
So it's keeping our people safe.
Ultimately, that's the priority. Yeah. That's what we're here to do. We're here to create shareholder value, but not at the expense of hurting anyone.
No.
If you have one message in relation to the culture again and high performance to our listeners today, or a call to action maybe for our people, what would that be?
As an organisation, I look at our business, what we do in Asphalt and products, and it's very repetitious. So I think if I think about what would the message be, was it's always to strive for a bit of continuous improvement. Always think about what can I do today better than I did yesterday. I think we, as an organisation, we're not really good at being a learning organisation and learning from our mistakes. I think we tend to repeat them. So if it was one message, was always think about what can I do better tomorrow than I did today? Well, what are the lessons from today that I can take into tomorrow?
George, thank you so much for joining Helene and I in the podcast studio today.
Thanks. It was my pleasure.
If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe to The Down a Difference on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcasts, and be sure to share it with your colleagues.